Sometimes we have to reach out to our readers to help us tell stories. And that's exactly what we did with the Savvy Over 60 Awards. We reached out to our readers to nominate people for these deserving awards. And the response was outstanding, which of course makes the selection process very difficult. I'm sure you're all looking forward to hearing about the award recipients this year for our inaugural class. And at this time, I'd like to introduce your MC for today's awards program. Amy Gilligan serves as the executive editor of the Telegraph-Herald and has done so since 2017. She's an accomplished journalist, a passionate mentor, and an incredible leader. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Amy Gilligan.
Thank you. Good morning. We are super excited to be here and to have you all here to celebrate our inaugural class of the Savvy Over 60 Award recipients. So first, we've got a bunch of people from our company here, and I want to do some introductions. So as I say your name, please stand, and you can hold your applause because there's a whole bunch of us here. So Tom Woodward, our president and CEO of Woodward Communications. Mike Fortman, our publisher, you just met. Todd Benz is our director of sales. Ali Hinga, our managing editor. Megan Gloss, our features editor. Luke Rodham, advertising manager. Annette Johnson, audience development manager. Bob Woodward, director of journalism philanthropy and college student partnerships. Nick Caroline, advertising account executive. Wendy Vosberg, also an advertising account executive. Sarah Clough is our marketing manager. Jody Dodd, marketing and events coordinator, who does so much work for us on events like this and makes it all go off like clockwork. And we've had a few events lately. Matt Connolly, our director of digital operations. Tom Eckerman, our multimedia specialist, is in the back, and Tom created the videos that you'll see today introducing our folks, our award recipients. And Lucas Schoaf is our multimedia intern from Loras College. Say hi, Lucas. Thanks for being here, getting up early. Every company and institution and organization has at some point reaped the benefits of a seasoned leader. These vital individuals are keepers of institutional knowledge who can share vast experience and decades of partnerships to better serve their organizations. We see these folks as our local sages, and we thought it was time we recognized them in our community, and those that are savvy over 60. So I'm not quite there yet, but the closer I get to 60, the better I understand and respect the sacrifices that these folks are making. Because here's the thing about this age group, that perhaps our up-and-coming rising stars don't know yet, but stuff gets real, right? So our industries are changing, and just because you're on the later end of your career doesn't mean you get a pass on new technologies and adapting and innovating. All that's just as important as ever. Yet we're at an age where we are losing more loved ones, and we're dealing with health issues, and we've experienced career challenges and seen the world change around us. And it would be awfully easy to say, you know what, I'm gonna retire at 60, I'm gonna go to Florida, I'm gonna play some golf, and I'm gonna have happy hour on the lanai every day. So, because in Florida, they call a screened-in porch a lanai, so that's a thing. But today, we're here to celebrate the people, like our winners, who said, nope, I've got work yet to do. I've got knowledge yet to share, and I'm called to continue to make a difference. So we reached out to our readers and our community, and we asked them to tell us who they saw in their institutions that were those kinds of individuals. And we received dozens of outstanding nominations. So together, our committee chose 5 incredible individuals to be the first recipients of this award, and today we're really proud to highlight those folks. Before we get to the awards, I want to introduce our speaker today, whom I know has inspired many of us. I first met Judy Wolf when I was on the hospice board, and we were planning a fundraiser, and it was a chef's dinner, and we were trying to drum up items for auction and, pull off this big fundraiser. And we said, we need some big guns here. Everyone's like, we need Judy Wolf. So Judy came in and helped us pull it off and just delivered, and I have admired her ever since. Judy worked at John Deere Dubuque Works for 38 years, retiring as division manager for construction and forestry worldwide service parts operations in 2011. She holds undergraduate degrees in accounting and business administration and a master's in business administration, all from the University of Dubuque. She currently serves on the board of directors for Steeple Square Marita Tyson Child Care Center, Junior Achievement of the Tri-States, and Mother's Prayers USA. She's also involved with volunteer efforts for Women United, Holy Family Catholic Schools, Catholic Charities, United Way, 100 Women Plus Who Care, and St. Columkille's Catholic Church. Like the people we're honoring today, Judy firmly believes in giving back to her community. Please welcome a TH First Citizen Award recipient from 2020 and genuinely an awesome human being, Judy Wolf.
Thank you, Amy, and congratulations to the 5 award recipients who I'm pretty sure have a better story to tell than I do. As Amy said, I'm Judy Wolf, retired John Deere employee and community volunteer. I've had the opportunity to be involved in many nonprofit organizations over several decades. I'm often asked, especially since my retirement in 2011, why I do the things I do and where I get the energy to do them. Backwards. I grew up on a small farm near Garber, Iowa. For anyone wondering where that is, Garber is about 45 miles northwest of Dubuque and is barely a dot in the map. The town just across the bridge, Elkport, we affectionately call them the Twin Cities, is an even smaller dot. My farm days started very early, from my tween years, getting up at 5 a.m. or so to help milk and feed cows. From that and other household and farm chores, I used to bake pies and cakes every Saturday morning for our family of 11. I quickly developed a strong work ethic, which has served me well in working years and beyond. I'm also very passionate about the causes in which I am involved and very determined to succeed in whatever I undertake. My involvement in community also dates back to my childhood. My mother was a very dedicated Catholic, and I followed her example. Therefore, my first acts of community service involved teaching CCD classes every Saturday morning all through high school, serving meals for visiting priests, and cleaning the church. I wasn't fond of those assignments at that time, but I now realize they were a good introduction to community service. Forward to my adult life, when I moved to Dubuque, where my mother had grown up, right after high school. Settling in with 3 of my older sisters, I landed a job within 2 weeks at Rainier Piano and Organ Company as secretary bookkeeper. I'd always planned to go to college, work a while, save some money. Didn't work that way. Instead, I met a charming gentleman when I was just 18 years old and married him when I was 19. 54 years ago, we said I do, and he is here with me today, actually celebrating our anniversary. At 54 years, that's how you celebrate. I tell you that 54 years has involved a great deal of commitment and determination, and those of you who are married likely understand. After having our first child just 10 and a half months after we married, good Catholic girl that I was, I realized my dream of becoming the first college graduate in our family was not going to happen anytime soon. I returned to work. Back then, I was proud that my husband let me work. While Rainier's was a great place to start a career, I realized there was not a lot of opportunity for growth. Therefore, I applied at John Deere, where the employment agency had actually wanted to send me just out of high school. However, I was only 17 at that time. No one younger than 18 was eligible. After a successful interview, I was offered a position with what I deemed to be the most prestigious employer in Dubuque. When my boss learned of my intention to leave, he convinced me I would be just a number at Deere and nearly doubled my salary to entice me to stay. I agreed, then changed my mind and asked Deere if I can reconsider. They agreed, and I backed out again. A couple of years later, I realized I had likely made a life's mistake and decided to try to apply at Deere again. I got an interview, and I recall an HR representative chatting with another when I came in, overhearing her saying I was the person that had, turned down this job twice a couple of years prior. I nervously sat for that next interview, determined to overcome the notion that I was wishy-washy. I was offered, and this time accepted the position and showed up for work. My husband and I had 2 more children, and my plan to start college became just a dim hope. It was at this time, though, that I became introduced to community involvement in the Dubuque area. From my very first year at Deere, I was encouraged to give my fair share to United Way. Over time, I accepted the United Way leadership role for John Deere Dubuque Works, overseeing our internal campaign. I became very passionate about United Way and the people it serves, and continued in that role for many years until my retirement. During that time, I also chaired the business division for United Way and recruited dozens of individuals to help make calls and plan United Way employee campaigns of their own. From these experiences, I increasingly learned the value of building a strong team to reach success levels no one can achieve alone. I was determined to grow the Deere campaign and introduce campaigns and new businesses. At the same time, I became increasingly involved in church and school activities. I was a member of the initial leadership group for my children's schools, Family School Association, then went on to be president of the Board of Education and served on the parish council and as finance chairs for many years. During this time, my youngest child entered kindergarten, and I decided it was time to focus on starting that college degree. This was in 1982 when things were pretty dismal in Dubuque. My husband had just been laid off from his job, and I had been reassigned from my position in industrial engineering to chemical engineering. I was doubtful that I could manage classes while learning a new job, where incidentally I was replacing 2-degreed chemists, and my background was a year of high school chemistry. I remember well the day I talked with the department manager who explained to me what the job would entail, using terms that I had no idea what they meant. I kept my cool, then left the meeting to refresh myself on terms like titrations, and introduced myself to chemical analysis of everything from steel to wastewater. What a learning and growth experience. Nonetheless, I did decide to visit the UD campus to explore opportunities and ended up staying to attend my first class that very evening. Adjusting to a new and challenging work environment, imagine how excited those losing their jobs were to train me, while pursuing a degree was a bit haunting, but I was determined to make it work. I graduated 4 years later, summa cum laude, a reminder I brought up to my children as they attended college, much to their disdain many times. I then went on to complete my MBA 2 years later, with opportunities still quite stagnant at Deere. I was lucky enough to have as one of my adjunct professors the manager of accounting at Deere. He recognized my commitment and perseverance and assured me that there would be a job there for me. I patiently waited, and just a few months later, when Deere offered an early quit opportunity and one of the accountants left, I moved to that arena. After completing several assignments in accounting, I began my first supervisory job at John Deere, overseeing the accounts payable department. I further learned the value of teamwork and perseverance, recognizing how each of us can learn so much from each other and achieve greater things than any of us can alone. I advanced through a few more assignments at John Deere Dubuque, then made the difficult decision to accept an opportunity at an acquisition in the Chicago area. My children are now out of college, but my husband was still working in Dubuque and not fond of the idea. This made for some difficult conversations about establishing 2 households, but I knew in order to continue to advance, this was an opportunity I could not turn down. Talk about determination and perseverance. The president of the acquired company was not friendly to Dear Help and let me know the first day there he would rather I was not. He added that he could be pretty blunt. I abandoned my usual strength that night and cried into the pillow at my hotel room. The next morning, I marched into his office and told him why I believed I could add value to the organization, but told him I could leave if he really wanted me to. With my hand on the doorknob, I still remember that, I added, by the way, I can be pretty blunt to him. He grinned as I left and quickly became my biggest advocate. I had gone there as purchasing manager, and when our controller left for a different job, he lobbied for me to assume that position, even though the president of our division had handpicked a different person. I got the job. I'm also proud that while I was at Value Part, I was able to launch a first ever United Way campaign with participation from virtually everyone at our corporate office. I stayed on at Value Part for a short time after Deere sold the company to an Italian firm, assuming the position of CFO. I became responsible for establishing an internal human resources, IT, and accounting department, which included securing employee benefits for the new organization. The challenge was real, but the job was the most rewarding of my career. Perseverance paid off. I went from there to another affiliate in the Quad Cities, serving as finance director for about a year and a half. This was another organization where the president, not a Deere employee, was not especially enamored with Deere Help, and the controllers from the various regions often overlooked Deere requirements. I was criticized for not providing enough leeway to those individuals, most of whom were terminated for noncompliance at some time. It was another good time, though, to test my commitment and perseverance. I returned in 2005, now back in the supply management arena from which I retired. At this time, I also returned to the Junior Achievement Board of Directors, on which I still serve today. My initial involvement with Junior Achievement was way back in the 1970s when I served as an advisor for the evening program. Some of you might be familiar with that. High school kids came to a center where they manufactured or assembled various products, with advisors overseeing their work and driving them to neighborhoods to sell their goods. I taught junior achievement at Wahlert Catholic High School, filling in one day a week for the business instructor. When the evening program disbanded, I began to teach JA classes in grade and middle school. My most worrisome first-time class was a first grade one, where I could not imagine how I could bring financial concepts to such young kids. To be sure they remembered the class, even if they forgot about wants and needs, I brought $1 million candy bars for each student in the last session. That's a practice I continue today. To be sure they say good things about me. Did I mention that I'm also very competitive? I continue to value education, and JA provides an opportunity for students at a young age to be introduced to financial literacy. I like to help out in time of needs. That's meant serving as interim president and CEO of United Way and finance director for that same organization. It's also meant temporarily serving as development director for Junior Achievement. I'm grateful to have been able to provide direction while being better able to understand the challenges of nonprofits. Perhaps my strongest passion has been for Steeple Square. I retired early from John Deere to watch my 3 young grandchildren in the Chicago area a couple days a week. When they all went off to school, I felt a void. I was still involved with several Dubuque nonprofits when the folks at Steeple Square asked me to fill the void by doing a little finance work. That bit of finance work, with the encouragement of my newfound friend, Sister Helen Huey, turned into a de facto executive director position, which I started with in early 2017 and continue today. I also pull weeds, vacuum floors, and clean bathrooms as needed, and have developed a deeper appreciation for the many hats that nonprofit leaders wear. I love finding solutions to challenging situations and seeing projects come to fruition. At Steeple Square, from acquiring donations to completing construction to introducing programming and beyond, I'm proud to have been intimately involved every step of the way. I was especially determined to launch a child care center on schedule and with special benefit to low-income families. When our planned operational partnership with another organization did not work out, I led efforts to internally develop staff and programming. From my management experiences at Deere and other nonprofit organizations, I knew it would take a focused effort to get this done, and that the entire board would have to be on board. I did not want to disappoint the donors with any delays. We were able to hire a child care director and initial staff to open in the fall of 2019. Done, right? No, only just beginning. Little did I know how many staff would call in last minute, risking having to close rooms to remain in ratio. I recruited volunteers that could assist in times of need and took classes myself so I could help in the classrooms. I quickly began to realize the lack of pay and appreciation for child care workers, often the backbone of achieving workplace growth for the entire community. But that's a topic for another time. Just as I thought we were beginning to run like a well-oiled machine, COVID snuck in. Our worried director wanted to shut down. I wanted to stay open, recognizing that many people relied on our center and they still needed to go to work. We persevered and were able to stay open throughout the pandemic. Finishing construction of our event and educational centers also became worrisome, with some contractors unwilling to work through part of the pandemic. With great support from our construction management team at Groningen and involvement from a dedicated board, we were able to complete construction on schedule. A just-in-time achievement with classes scheduled to start in partnership with NICC just days after the final work was completed. My leadership success at Steeple Square and in other nonprofit organizations draws on the leadership skills I acquired at Deere. I learned from and with the people to whom I'm reported and those who reported to me. I know how important it is to get buy-in from all constituents, also recognizing there are times where tough decisions will not be liked by all. My life's journey has provided me many opportunities to serve. I am grateful for those opportunities and hope to be able to continue to support our community for many years to come. My rewards are immeasurable. Plaques and awards are appreciated, but more important are a hug from a first grader as I enter the classroom to teach JA. A picture of a child I mentor with an inscription saying, "To the world you may be one person, but to me you are the world." A profound thank you from the desperate person stopping at the United Way office needing a bus ticket to get home when I dropped her off at the bus terminal with that ticket. A bright smile from a child at Marita Tyson Child Care Center when she reaches her arms to me. The list goes on. Family is extremely important to me, so perhaps the best reward of all is a message my oldest child posted when I received the Telegraph Herald First Citizen Award for 2020. Dear Mom, congratulations on being named the Telegraph Herald's First Citizen of 2020. You have always been an inspiration to me and everyone in the family. Whenever I'm unsure I can accomplish something, I think about how you concurrently worked full-time at John Deere, went to college full-time with incredible success, and raised us 3 kids, all while being active in our school, church, and community, and I realize I have no room for excuses. Whenever I need advice, you're the first person I call to get the wisdom I need to help make big decisions. And whenever I devise my next crazy plan, I can always count on your support, even if it's a path you may not totally understand. On top of that, you're quite simply the most generous person I know. I'm sure you carry these same strengths into the causes that you care so much about, and I'm glad that the community recognizes in you what your family has always seen. Sending all my love on this special occasion. If my children and grandchildren continue to demonstrate compassion for others and commitment to family and community, that's the best legacy I can ask for. Thank you for letting me share my story. I know that those in this room likely already understand the importance of determination, perseverance, and teamwork that you have achieved at high levels. But I still hope I left you with something to take home inspirationally. If not, I just happen to have some $1 million candy bars. Thank you. Thank you very much.
In case they go quickly. Thank you, Judy. That was terrific. Quite a story, right? Quite an inspiring example. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to get to our award winners. So what we're going to do here, I will announce the person's name, and we've got videos created by Tom Eckerman that will show, and then you can come up and get your award and say a few words to the folks here today. So our first Savvy Over 60 award recipient is Sue Nepper of Cascade Community Schools Food Service.
There was no dance team in Cascade. She created that.
I wanted to do it. We did not have a team in Cascade, and she volunteered her time in the early years to create a dance program in Cascade.
So other dance teams, of course, were curious about that. They'd ask her about the uniforms, costuming, etc. She started renting all those out to other dance teams to use with their routine. Use that money then to purchase additional and to fund additional projects.
Being part of the teams that she's coached, that's carried me through a lot of my adulthood.
A lot of schools started emulating the Cascade dance program because of the things Mom was doing.
It's definitely a legacy that she has built with that program. And my daughters now are on the team.
The kitchen at Cascade, she saw that and saw possibilities. Hey, this is how it could be, so created a new plan.
The lunchroom has a board that is just jam-packed full of clippings from Telegraph Herald or from the Cascade Pioneer. By the end of the year, it's overflowing with successes of the students.
The one thing that she's always come back to, and I think that's driven her more than anything, is her family.
So we went to Nashville for her 60th birthday, and we had the band play the Sloppy Joe song, and we all danced.
If someone wore a Hawkeye jersey, was affiliated with the Iowa Hawkeyes at some time or another, and she was within 100 feet of them, she's spoken to them personally. She'd be introducing herself, dragging the family over and introducing everybody else, and then picking their brain about this, that, or the other.
I graduated from Iowa in 2020. I graduated with a degree in sports management. There was no live sports happening at the time. But then high school sports started going again, so I started coaching, realized I liked it, and pursued teaching, and she wanted to make it happen. She was willing to help.
I like her style. I like how she kind of just picks something different every day. I know my dad wears this one shirt almost every day, and then different pants with it. It's just like a gray shirt. She has this pattern of wearing like flowers one day, just a plain color one day, and maybe a dress.
She's competitive.
She's really competitive. Sometimes we beat her at memories and cards. She's a lot of my basketball year round. She's really supportive of all of us. Like just last weekend, she drove like 3.5 hours just to see me and my sister perform at our recital. We always like when she's sitting down and watch TV. We like give her manicures and we do her hair. And we give her foot massages. I love her, and I'm very thankful for her like always being there. I love you, Grandma.
We love you, Mom. We're proud of you. You deserve this.
You're pretty, and I love you.
Those are some of the best grandchildren I've ever seen, so congratulations to Sue Nepper.
Thank you so much. I did not expect that. Thank you for coming. I can't believe you did this. I really appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you.
First or second day, I thought I'd go over and meet Keith, and walked in over at his office and introduced myself, and he gave me this quizzical look. He goes, I didn't know they were looking for a new general manager. And so it was a little bit of an awkward situation. He's friendly, he's outgoing, he's talkative, he's a pretty good storyteller. You know, the rising tide carries all boats, and I think Keith lives by that. Part of it, I think, is Midwestern growth, and he's got some little farmer in him, so it makes him a sincere man. If you are lucky at picking the right kind of people like Keith has done, Julie and Taylor, and they're great assets. They've been there for like 20 plus years. And now they all breed and carry the idea of let's drive tourism for the area. He sees things that celebrate your uniqueness. You know, there's only one Mississippi River, there's only one Field of Dreams. And Keith always talks about those, that we have to celebrate those one-of-a-kind or those uniquenesses that we have to the area. And he's passionate about those things. He celebrated the Mississippi River with the Great River Festival, and he's been behind kind of the work that's taking place with the new Schmidt Island development. He built the Team of Dreams, which is bringing retired Major League Baseball players to the community, and then the baseball fans would come out for seeing them play, meeting them, getting autographs. He traveled the world with the Ghost players and saw the greatest opportunity that come from that. Obviously, with the new field stadium being built, he's an integral part of that. Teams that are associated with the tournaments that take place at Field of Dreams are now staying in 3 different counties. So they're going all the way into Wisconsin. So that kind of idea is what's good for you will be good for everyone. Congratulations, Keith. It's been a pleasure and a true treasure to have gotten to know you on the professional side, on the personal side, and congratulations on Savvy Over 60.
I just want to thank the Telegraph Herald once again. I know, it's when Jody called me up and back in April, and she said, "Hey, you were nominated, and then you've been awarded to be Savvy Over 60." I started laughing. I said, "I've been called a lot of things in my career. Savvy, I don't know if it's one of them." I actually had to look it up real quick on my phone what it meant. So, but it's a privilege to be on stage with these other recipients that won. I worked with a few of you guys throughout the last 25 years, and it is quite an honor. And I also like to thank the Telegraph Herald. I worked with you guys a long time, 35 some years. The dedication, what you've done for this community throughout your sponsorship, your support and such, allows us to be able to do all the amazing things that we've done throughout the years. I talked to some of you when I came in. It struck me driving in here today. It's almost 20 years ago today that we did the Grand Excursion right here in the port, which is one of the major significant events that really kicked off Dubuque as a viable destination for tourism. Through 2 days, we had over 60,000 people right here. And I always remember we got done. The one night we had Colin Ray performed right in this area. And I took my son down to the Riverwalk, and we had the 8 paddle wheelers that were lined up, and they were all playing their organs at the same time. And I was awestruck. And I've been awestruck for a long time, be able to represent Dubuque in the tri-state area, and to be able to be the promoter for it and such, and that'll continue. So I want to thank all of you. I'd also like to thank my family that came in and my staff. I love you guys. Thank you.
I remember that Grand Excursion. You're the visionary for travel and tourism, because I remember thinking, we're really going to relive the journey of Millard Fillmore, and that's going to draw a lot of people. But what do you know? It did. So you were right. Our next winner is Sue Rydell of Bell Tower Theater.
Did she tell you about when they went to California to meet with Universal Studios and she ran into Kate in an elevator?
She didn't say that.
Yeah. So she was in an elevator, and there was one of the Universal executives or somebody from Universal was there, and they were in an elevator, and Kate Mulgrew walked into the elevator and said, "Oh my God," and said to her friend, "You got to meet this woman. This woman was my first acting teacher," and the Universal Studios exec is like, "Oh God." Sue is incredibly rare. Sue is an artistic leader who also understands how to run theater as a business. The legacy of so much theater in this town traces its roots back to Sue, because without the barn there would be no Grand, and even like the Rising Star Theater Company, that model, which is similar to our kids program, that's based on what Sue did at the barn back in the 70s. Sue wrote the very first grant for Arts Trek. She wrote a grant to the National Endowment for the Arts all the way back in the late 60s. I was 69, 70, somewhere around in there. And that program still exists. And elementary school kids still go to the symphony and still go to the art museum because of that program. Sue was on the Iowa Film Commission, and they sent out a notice that they were looking for a location to film the Field of Dreams. So Sue took her little camera and she drove around Dubuque County taking pictures of farmhouses, and she sent them all off to Universal Studios. Don was not home. Don was working at John Deere at the time. So when she was driving around, he was at work. So when they chose his house, she had still not met him and asked if it was okay. You know, it would have been great if she could have knocked on his door and said, they're going to make a movie here and you're going to be a millionaire. But they didn't know that second part. Fortunately, Don was an enormous baseball fan. And that's what, because at first he was like, who are you, you crazy person standing on my porch? The iconic final shot with 2,500 cars or whatever, a ridiculous number of cars, driving up to the field with their headlights on. Sue actually directed that shot. Nobody works harder than Sue right now. I am 100% sure that Sue will always set you up to succeed. It's what she does with the kids that is also truly inspiring. Watching her, even at 78 years old, playing with the kindergartners and first graders and making them feel special and making them enjoy the thing that she loves more than anything, which is theater.
Well, I came to Dubuque to go to Clark College, and my life was never the same. When I was at Clark, I got to be on a USO tour and traveled halfway around the world. I went to work for Dick Slattery at the Department of Recreation, and he hired me right out of college. And he said, I'll give you a desk, I'll pay your salary. When you go too far, I'll let you know. And it was my job to renovate a barn into a cultural arts center. So I've really been an advocate for all of the cultural arts. From the barn, I also had the opportunity to go to Sacred Heart, and we did theater there, and then we went to the Grand Opera House, and I helped renovate that in the beginning and did plays there. And then I retired. And then I got taken to lunch by Mr. Kane, and he said, I have this building, and it has a theater in it, and it's not going very well. Could you just come and look and see what's going on? And I said, oh, okay. So, because he took me to lunch. And so I said, I'll help, and I looked at it, and I was there a while, and he said, well, now will you do a play? And I said, I got to go back and teach high school. I was a high school teacher. I taught speech and theater at Hempstead High School for 38 years, in the same room, the same school for 38 years. I loved it. Well, anyway, so while I was teaching high school, I said, I got to go back to school. And he said, just do a play. Used to do them at the Grand. Just do a play. So I put on a play. I've been there 21 years. And so I've had the opportunity to also be on the Arts Commission for the city of Dubuque. And it's very important, I think, and I'm an advocate for the arts. All the arts are important to this community, and it gives us quality of life in our community. So I hope you support all of the arts and you go to the theater. I'm very grateful for this award, but I wouldn't have this award without all my friends. I have some friends here today. Some have been with me almost 50 years and have helped me with all my various crazy projects. People kept telling me I couldn't do things, but they would help me make them happen. I also have a staff that works many, many hours to make things happen, and they are so talented and so creative, and they're younger than I am, and that keeps me young. So I enjoy working with them, and I thank them. But everyone in their life has one person that's kind of their cheerleader and is there all the time. Steve Horman has been my cheerleader, and when things aren't so good, he'll set me straight and put me on the straight and narrow. So I appreciate him for all that he's done also to help me. So thank you very much, and thank you to all the people that have worked with me. And I love Dubuque, and I love the community, and I also am thankful to all of those people in the community that have worked with me and that come to my shows. Thank you.
Let's do Kevin Lynch.
The development of Chaplain Schmidt Island. That was an idea that he had many, many years ago that he brought forward, and now it's happening. With Chaplain Schmidt Island, there are multiple pieces that go into the development. Fund it, build it, promote it, eventually enjoy it. He sees the big picture, and he's in the thick of it right now. And I know that makes him happy because it's been a long time dream of his to be part of that. At a board level, kind of flies under the radar. Very active, most recently with Dubuque Initiatives and the Dubuque Racing Association. You know, there were people who came before him. He kind of stood on their shoulders. At Unity Point Finley, you know, there were board members and board chairs before him who helped see the vision of building a brand new wing for cardiac care. He could be that person that someone else could stand on his shoulders. Kevin displays a great sense of work ethic, and he'll stay with something for a long time. He won't quit when the going gets tough. And Kevin can be tough. Kevin would say, don't take any crap off of anybody. Only I probably would have said it, he would have said a different word that he would have to bleep out. He knows how to bring people together from all different walks of life who can bring components in to make something work, to fit things together, fit people together to make for success.
Thank you all very much. This is quite an honor, and I just want to lead off by telling you that no fewer than 5 of you just this morning have told me to keep it short and sweet, so that is what I will do. I know that you probably are all thinking that I'm still back on the city council and going to talk for a long time. I'm not going to do that, I promise. And for you younger people in the room, this is where the over 60 part kicks in. So when, like Keith, when they called me and told me that I had been chosen, I thought they had the wrong person. And I had to sit and think about it for quite a while. What exactly does that mean to be savvy, and you know, where did that come from? But you know, it struck me very quickly that it wasn't about me. It never was. And so it's a lot of other people that I've encountered in my life. I really want to thank the TH, Amy, Mike, and Tom, and Bob, and your entire team. You've been so gracious. I really appreciate this. Most important to me, obviously, and for all of us, is family. I'm joined by several of them today. My fiance, Linda, she tells me every morning, go get them, and what are you going to do? And the one day I tried to play with her a little bit and told her that I was going to sit in my t-shirt and eat popcorn and watch ESPN all day, and she didn't think that was very funny. So, but no, going on, I also want to recognize my kids. Brandon and his wife Stacy sitting over here. My other 2 kids, Taylor and Allie. I learned very on in being a father that was my real purpose in life, was to be a father. And then my grandson came along about 5-6 years ago, and that got added to the list. So Theo is the one that keeps me young these days. I could sit and talk with him all day. I could not go on without recognizing my brother and my mother. My mother, back in the early 1960s, left an 18-year marriage, took 4 kids, moved to a strange city, had no place to live and no job. And if she were here today, I'd tell her, Ma, you made the right decision. So thank you for that. And got to make special note of my 2 sisters, Jan, who's over here, and Patty. Without the 2 of them, I quite literally would not be here at all. So thank you very much, and I love all of you very, very much. There's been a lot of friends and people that I've encountered in my life. I have so many colleagues. I mean, I've got people I consider to be friends and colleagues in this room. There's about 80 of you, I think, that could be just as deserving of this as I am. But you know, it would take too long to thank them all, but you did see a couple of my original business partners in the video. They were good guys. They're no longer with me, but we fought like brothers, and then we celebrated like brothers too. So I owe them a debt of gratitude. My team members throughout the year. I told him one day that when I was leaving the office, you guys should put on my gravestone that he's not really dead, he's just at a meeting. Just quickly, a few other people that have really served as friends and mentors throughout the year, several of whom are in the room. I mean, I could just go around. Rick Dickinson, Mike Van Milligan, of course, two guys that have become some of my best friends, Roy Buell and Rick Jones, and along with the two of them and Joyce Connors and Carla Bragg and I were all elected to city council at the same time. That was a really special moment in life because you could tell right on that evening at the courthouse that we were going to do some great things together, and I think we did. So it has been a fun ride. I really am still kind of in shock a little bit to be mentioned in the same sentence with Sue and Keith and Nancy is an honor all by itself. So thank you all. If there is any level of savvy in me, it's because you folks all made me that way. So thank you very much.
And for our final recipient of the Savvy Over 60 Award, we have Nancy Van Milligan from the Community Foundation of Greater Dubuque.
I first met Nancy when she was in her 40s, and she had the wisdom of a 60-year-old. She came to us with philanthropy experience from being a development director at Clark. She just pressed all the right buttons and impressed us. Over 20 years later, and she's still our first and only CEO.
You know, there have been ups and downs. There are tough years, bad years, things that happen in the community, things that happen, in-house, that it would be easy to say, okay, I'm done. I don't need this. But when you have a passion for that work, add that to, your hard work, your drive, your integrity, your willingness to take chances and trust people and work with people and collaborate with people, share the wealth, share the accolades. I think it makes it much easier. I don't think you could stay in a position like this if you didn't have that passion.
The one thing about nonprofit work is when you are immersed in it and you're believing in the mission, it's easy to want to get involved in a deeper way in the community. It was an opportunity to expand beyond just one nonprofit to the entire community.
Well, I think Nancy has a vision, but she doesn't necessarily tell you what her vision is. She gets people together, and she has the unique ability of getting them to see her vision by the questions she asks, by the direction she takes, and she's very open to ideas.
And with the creation of funds that help grow, things like our journalism fund, things like we're doing with hearing and programs like Vision to Learn, or learning and reading at grade level, or even new initiatives that we're taking on with Small Town Dreams. Those are the things that really make the difference in our community. Not just talking about an idea, but researching it, making that connection, finding individuals who want to get involved, and then bringing our community together to collaborate and make it successful.
Relationships with donors, relationships with the staff, relationships with people in the community, with community leaders. So that's really key. And relationships are based on a willingness to talk to people, but more importantly, willingness to listen.
She might have a vision, but she's willing to tweak it. She's willing to give it a different view, and she always ends up with a better product than when she started because she's a good listener, and she just has the ability to create confidence in her and the confidence in the people around her. And she's hired so many good people that they have made us all look good. To be successful in life, study, get educated, work hard, but the third leg of the stool is you have to care, and she cares.
John and Chris and Bobby, thanks for those kind words. I think I'm fairly self-aware, but I have to admit I've never thought of myself as a sage or savvy. and to be real honest, that I'm over 60, you know? So thanks for pointing that out to me. I think the 5 awardees, what we all have in common is that we love what we do. And that's the real magic behind this savviness. For me, my job is the best job in America. I get to get up every day and I get to work with people in our communities that are generous and want to make a difference. And I get to work with the nonprofits who every day are changing people's lives and making our community a better place. And I get to work with so amazing people. Many of my staff are here, and thank you so much. You're the ones that make me savvy. And I have had tremendous boards of directors. And I'm so thrilled that today my founding board chair is here, John O'Connor. We worked together putting this organization together, and then for 5 years. And then my current board chair, Chris Corkin, and other board members. The board has been so important for my success. And certainly family, and joined by my loving husband, and so pleased that my grandson, Justice, is here. He's clever, he's fun-loving, he's creative, and he really makes a difference in my life. Mike and I have had children in our home over 43 years, and it's really shaped, I think, who we are and also how we understand the importance of family and the importance of community, and it absolutely has influenced how I work and what I focus on. I really want to thank the TH. As you probably have realized from things, in fact, this morning in the paper, it showed the Community Foundation got a $175,000 grant for journalism. We're very passionate about communities needing access to local, accurate, fair reporting. And we are so blessed in this time when towns are losing their newspapers. We have a premier, high-performing newspaper, the Telegraph Herald, to wake up to, every morning. And what you really do, I think, is create that informed and engaged and connected community, which is what all of us, the awardees and all of us in this room, need to be successful. So thanks to all of you. Thanks for being here and for all that you do for our community and for me. Thank you.
Candy bar for Justice. All right. Well, I hope that you have all felt as inspired as I have today by the words of these award recipients. Thank you to Keith and the Diamond Joe staff for this lovely breakfast. Thank you to our sponsor, Finn and Kia, and thanks to all of you for being here today. Cheers to all our winners. Go out and make it a great day. Thanks.